do stuff. So you should just, take a minute and just go, okay. There's a lot of craziness going on in my life, but I can deal with it. 'Cause I'm still here. I got nothing else to do except deal with stuff, so I'm just gonna deal with it. Okay, so have a super awesome day. Bye. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rodney Norman Show with me, Rodney Norman, as we take a break from the world and we chill out together. That's what we're doing here. That's what we're all about. Let me get the camera posed here. My dog Doug is down here joining me because he heard me talking. Assumes something important's going on, so he'll make noise here. And when he wants to let me know he wants to go outside and pee, he'll let us know, just so you're not freaked out. Right now he just wants my attention. But good morning. We have a guest coming on in a little bit. She is a life coach of sorts. She's a healthcare professional, and you're gonna be delighted. We're gonna have a great conversation. And but in the meantime, let me talk about what's going on here in Rodney World. Well, first of all, we got some live shows coming up August 5th, Friday, 49 Franklin in Rumford, Maine. I've got that show. Tickets are available. I think you have to do it either in cash, in person is their preferred model, or you can go buy tickets through PayPal through there. So you go to 49 Franklin. The venue is on 49 Franklin, and it's called 49 Franklin. Just so you know. Also, Doug, calm down. What? I was fine until I started talking, and then all of a sudden Doug wants to be involved. You've been outside. You have food. Oh my goodness, Doug, you are something else. So we got that show coming up, and then also coming around the corner, August 18th, Thursday night, the Egremont Barn out in Western Massachusetts. Tickets right there, Egremont Barn. You can buy tickets right on their website, so you can see me live at that time. So, but let's move on, my friends. Like I said, we're being joined by someone who's a new friend, a new old friend, as I like to call. We had a wonderful conversation last night. She told me things she wanted to talk about, and I was like, sounds perfect. Let's do it. So this is all about her. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your new best friend and mine. Please welcome Joanne.
Hey family, how are we doing today?
All right. How are you?
I'm doing fan-freaking-tastic. It's a super freaking awesome day.
Yes, it is. Did you get some sleep finally?
I did. I stayed up a little later than I should have because I was tinkering around on my violin, and because I just had to get my energy out. But I actually slept really good.
Oh, that's good to hear. Sleep is important.
It is.
It is important. I tell people, if you're not sleeping well, it's because you're stressed out, and you need to do things to de-stress. And one of those things, apparently, is plink around on a violin.
You got that right, and sing too.
And sing.
Yes.
Singing is something that has eluded me most of my life.
Really?
I have attempted to sing. I mean, I was in a musical. This is an example. I was in a musical. You know what? Let me let Doug outside, and you tell people about you. Introduce yourself to the people. Let me go let Doug out.
Okay. All right. So my name is Joanne Voorhees Collins, but my friends call me Joe, and some people call me Coach JJ. I am a United States board certified health and wellness coach, and I have been working in healthcare for over 2 decades. I know that might sound impossible to look at me because I don't look old, but I started when I was really young, and I just love trying to help people achieve the best state of health and wellness that is possible for them. And that looks differently for everybody.
Did it come at the right time?
Yeah.
You give the skinny?
Just the general basic. There's the very high level basics right there.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, I was talking about my singing. See, I love to sing, and I was in the musical in college.
Yeah.
Annie, Get Your Gun, right?
Oh, that's a good one.
And I was just part of the chorus. I didn't have any main parts, but I was in a chorus. You know, when they would certain songs, the whole chorus, everybody come out and sing.
Right.
And so we're there in practice. Like it was like one of the first 2 days and of practice, and we're going through the songs and everything. And we're in this one. He goes, man, there's just something. It's not clicking. We need to. And we just kept going over and over and over again this chorus. And he goes, it's just not working. Something's not happening. And I'm getting tired at this point in time. So I just stopped singing and I just started mouthing the words, right? And as we're singing that, as I make the choice not to sing, he's sitting there and he starts just beaming. I mean, he's getting excited, right? And so we get through the whole course for the first time. We finally get through the whole thing. And he just goes, oh, that was perfect. That sounded absolutely beautiful. That was perfect. I don't know who made the change, but whatever change you made, that's what you do. That's what you should be doing, is what you just did. So whoever it was that made the change, thank you. That sounded perfect. And that's when I realized that was me. I sang so poorly that I was drowning out the rest of the chorus off key.
Wow.
So I took it as a compliment that I could sing that loud. But I had issues. So what's that?
Oh, go ahead.
And then 3 other times in church, people have actually asked me to stop singing. Like,
nah, really?
We're singing in church, and this lady one time, I was a kid, I was like 14, and she just turns around. She says, "Young man, I'm so proud of you that you want to sing, but you're a little too much." She was trying to be nice, but it was like, she's like, "You're really not good at this." It was quite funny.
Listen, I think those people are silly. I heard your song, "Oh, It's a Beautiful Morning,"
yes,
and I was like, "Oh my God, this guy can croon. He sounds amazing."
Well, thank you. It's been an ongoing. I've been trying. I want to sing. That's what I've been practicing, and so that was my okay. Let me see what happens if I actually share this with people, because I love that song. My mother used to sing that song all the time. Every morning she would wake us up almost to that. She would just be singing it. And it was funny because she always, the words were always different. She never remembered. She remembered that part, but the rest of it, she was throwing in her own stuff all the time. So I never knew what the whole song was until like about a month ago when I looked up the words, and I was like, wow, she was totally wrong.
My children are going to one day say that about me. And their father as well, because we just we like to do like parodies, and we'll just like there'll be like what we down here in the South call a plate of shrimp moment, where it's just like some weird thing and some other weird thing, and they go together like this. and then we have to like just sing about it because it's so hilarious and funny, and we do that, and the kids are like, "What are you doing?"
Absolutely. We me and the wife, we sing all the time. But
you should never.
And she's good. She's got a great voice. My wife has a beautiful voice.
Yeah, I imagine she does.
But anyway, where would we go? Oh yes, you are here. No, we were talking last night about your was it the three things that you need to focus on to be happy
Yeah, to
and
be healthy.
the healthy. Well, if you're healthy, you're happy. If you're being happy helps you be healthy, and if you're
There's a
healthy, you'll be
bi-directional
happy.
relationship.
Yes, it's well,
And
it's funny. One of the criticisms I people keep giving me. This is the funniest thing to me, and they think that they're very intelligent, and they think that they're making some sort of a brilliant observation. Is that they say that being positive doesn't change anything. And as I like to point out, well, being miserable doesn't change anything either, but at
well,
least I'm having a good time.
apparently they need to go back to some science class, like some physics and some chemistry, and understand the polarity of atoms and molecules, and
Yes.
how all of these things are energy. And you can't ever get rid of energy. It just gets transformed from one form to another. I believe that's the second law of thermonuclear dynamics, if I'm correct.
Yes. Yes.
And so you have the choice of how you're going to orient yourself in the world. And you can, if you orient yourself in a positive direction, like, and this is something that irritates me about the spiritual world and the health coaching gurus and all this stuff, because they're like, you can manifest anything, and and they make it sound so cheesy, when they could very easily go back to the actual just physical science of it. And when you
Mm-hmm.
positively orient yourself, you're looking for the positive molecules out there in the universe. And that doesn't just go for your mind, it also goes for your physical body as well. And that's why, wow, I crave salt today. Ooh, wow, I need something sweet. Wow, I feel like I really want some meat, or I feel like I really need a salad. Like, these are, direct effects of how we're oriented and what we're absorbing from the universe. And so these people that say, you know, uh, positivity is stupid, and like you're allowed to sit there and embroil yourself in whatever self-righteous indignation that you have. Okay, yeah, you could do that. You could park your car in that spot, but let it just be a little parking lot. Don't keep yourself there, and continue to strive towards the positive. And this comes from simple biology, like looking at plants. Like, you can see behind me, I have this row of flowers. And on this side, the flowers are big and they're bushy and very bloomy. And then on the other side that you can't see, the flowers are there, but they're little. And that's because the way my trees are, you can't get the sunlight but at certain angles. And the plants are growing toward the sunlight. They're growing toward that positivity. How's that?
It's perfect. We love energy. We thrive. We thrive when we have energy. When we get out. When I tell people, just go outside. You don't have to. You don't have to run a marathon or go hike. The forest. You just go outside and just be outside for 15, 20 minutes and just enjoy some sunlight. Just move. Just carry
Absolutely.
one thing from the end of your yard to the other. Just go outside. You're built to be outside, and you'll be happier if at some point in time you just go out and just be outside, even if it's hot and miserable.
You know, if you think back, and I'm going to bring this up to you because I know that you're a philosopher. If you think back to like Bible scriptures, whatever form of
Hmm.
Bible you use, whether it's, the regular Christian Bible, or like a Jewish Bible, or Islamic Bible, or they're all Bibles, because the Bible literally just means like a guidebook, right?
Just
And
means
so
book. Yeah.
if you look back at all of them, like, when things were created and happened to be, none of us were like planted here in a house that we just like stayed in the house all the time. The teachings talk about being out in the world. And as you said, we're built to be outside. We're built to have fresh air. We're built to be surrounded by the energy of the trees and the grass and the plants and the bugs and the animals and all the stuff and things. And when we spend our time in a building with fluorescent lighting, limited windows, and angry people shouting at us all day long, it's like, well, there goes somewhere between 8 and 10 hours of your day to like be in the natural environment that you're supposed to be in. And I don't think that people get outside enough.
No,
I
we
don't.
don't. We do not get outside. We don't physically move like we should.
And that brings me to one of my 3 M's of total health, which is
Let's start with your 3 M's.
okay.
Let's get into it. Let's get
So
into
my
it.
philosophy is that there are 3 domains of health, like the absolute definite. You got to have some attention, if not full attention, to these 3 domains. And the way I like to put it is kind of like you have a stool. How many legs does a stool require to stand upright and not fall over? At least 3. If you try to put one on 2 legs, not going to work, right? So there's 3 primary things. In the case of our health and wellness, those 3 things are mindset, movement, and meals. It really all starts with mindset, but there's kind of like this like triangle relationship between the 3, and the one will affect the other, which will slingshot into that direction, and then it'll come back in this direction, and on and on and on we go. And so when I talk about mindset, I talk about our thoughts and our regulation of our thoughts. And in one of your shorts that I watched recently, you were talking about, how you can just change your thoughts. And it's something that I didn't believe for a long time, working in the clinical aspect of healthcare, providing, disease management and, urgent care and things like that for people that were like acutely ill. It was, it's all science. Well, they have this medical thing, and then this is the thing that's going to treat them. But then I started noticing a pattern, and I can safely say with full confidence that over my 2 decades of experience in healthcare, the people that have a positive mindset, the people that say, you know what, okay, this thing happened, it's not cool, and I don't like it, and yes, I'm scared, but I am going to try to be positive about it. I'm going to look at the bright side. I'm going to look at the, the silver lining in that cloud. Those people are the people that tend to do better over time and immediately, in terms of something as crazy as wound healing, fracture healing, recovery from cardiac events, regaining the ability to walk. And like, those people do better and require less continued interventions, as opposed to the person that is constantly stressed out, constantly worried, and has a negative orientation. Oh, woe is me. The sky is falling. Oh, I'm doomed. Woe is me. I don't deserve this. Nobody cares about me. Those folks tend to either not do well, stay sick for a long time, or they just don't make it.
Yeah, there's a famous kind of anecdotal study by it was Norman Cousins. Are you familiar with this? He was diagnosed with cancer, and they basically said you're dying. And he instead of getting upset, he thought, well, you know what? I'm just I think he was in a hotel, or so he was staying at a hotel at the time. And so he went and he just got movies and books and magazines and just everything that he thought was funny. And he thought, well, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die happy. And so he starts watching all these funny movies, and he starts, watching comedy, and just and he's just laughing. He's not focused on the fact that he's dying. He started focused on just laughing, and he ended up turning around and basically healing himself to a certain degree. Um, and he went on. He's done a lot of studies about the whole idea. And if you watch Patch Adams,
I
study,
love that movie.
yeah, and you study his life and what his ideas was. That here people they're in a scary situation. For a lot of them, this is the most traumatic thing they've ever been through, is to be in the hospital.
Most
And
definitely.
and he comes along and he just starts entertaining them, and just being silly. Most all of his jokes are pretty corny and ridiculous and stupid, but they're funny. They're silly and they make you laugh. And if anything, what happens when you laugh is you relax. Your body says, "Oh, okay, we're good. We're safe." We laugh when we're safe. We laugh when we're happy.
And it massages all of our organs on the inside, and the actual act of laughing, like, actually can help your lymphatic system flush out toxins, and it just loosens all of the covers of our muscle bundles. It gives us a shot of endorphins, serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, and all that jazz. So
oh yeah, it's just it just floods your system of just good things.
And it can help you change your mindset. I think someone once said that laughter is the best medicine, right?
Yes.
And it's I have seen it to be true for sure. And that goes into both mindset and movement. Because you're laughing, you're physically moving, so that's a good thing. We always want to be moving if we can. And then the mindset, because it helps you think, yeah, well, today was crappy, but I watched this comedian today, and man, that was funny, and I think I feel a little better about life.
Yeah, I've heard that from people.
I'm sure many times.
I will be honest with you. I've been doing comedy full time for it'll be 24 years in November. I've performed in front of all kinds of people and crowds and done jokes here. I've just been doing it for so long. But I think with the videos and the character Leonard, and being able to get people to laugh and deliver a positive message, share my philosophy in this way, and getting the messages back from people who will have been stressed out. They've been having a very difficult time with whatever, with life, because it's been stressful for everyone the last few years. And they watch my video, and because they're not expecting a message, they're not expecting anything. They're just going, who's this weirdo out standing out in the middle of the woods? What's wrong with this guy?
I can't understand what he's saying. He's mumbling.
Yeah, he's bubbling. He's just, and little do they know that I'm using some psychological trickery.
There's a method to your madness.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you that I had one of my twin daughters watch your How to Be You video. And this child said, "Mom, dude, bro, that's what it's like to be autistic." And I was like, "Come again, excuse me." What you say to me? And she's like, "That's what it feels like to be autistic." I said, "You feel that way?" "Yeah. This guy's funny. I love it." And then she walked in the house and then proceeded to almost burn my kitchen.
Oh, perfect. But just hearing people say they watch the video and they laugh for the first time in a long time, and they just felt better. And it was like, oh, okay, for the first time, I feel like everything is going to be okay. And man, when I hear that, oh, it just brings joy to my heart. Just get people to just to realize that yes, like being positive isn't necessarily going to change anything. Uh, you're isn't going to save your job if you're losing it because the company's shutting down. I mean, it's not going to fix everything. But by you being positive and being happy and being healthy, you can adapt and overcome the
All the
difficulties in
things.
life, and you can move on. You're not stuck. You're not, as you're saying, you're not uh, parked in one spot and not moving. You're not just sitting there.
You
You're
stay in
just
that parking lot, you're going to get some tickets and you might get towed. Don't want
yes.
to do that, right?
But you go, you visit, you go, okay, I feel bad. This isn't going well, and then you feel what you got to feel. This is what I tell people. I'm not
Pay
telling
your
you to
fee.
yeah, pay your fee. You don't need to avoid these negative feelings. It's like when people break up. I get a lot of people ask me, how do you deal with being, breaking up? I tell people, feel what you got to feel, because it does hurt you. It's gut wrenching when someone says, hey, I spent a lot of time with you and I've decided I don't want to do it anymore. It hurts, I mean, that's, but yeah, you deal with the feeling, feel it, explore it for all that you got to be, and then just move on. You'll find that if you just allow yourself to just feel it and get it out, that you won't hold on to it because your mind goes, okay, we've had this experience. Okay, we can move on now. But if you
Yes.
keep trying to fight it, you keep trying to stop that feeling. You want to go back. You want something else, and you keep fighting for it. That's when you start focusing on it. That's when it hangs around because
Most
now
definitely.
now it's become a part of you. Now your subconscious thinks, oh, this is what we're supposed to do, and it
Yeah.
just won't let go of it.
Yep. No doubt. And so I want to offer a little tip to folks who might be listening that the first step um, to addressing your mindset is to become a quiet observer of your thoughts, because the thoughts, the ideas, is what instigates an impulse and a feeling, which then affects your behavior. So start paying attention to your thoughts. And then when you catch yourself, and you will most definitely catch yourself, when you catch yourself saying, oh, I'm such a stupid freaking idiot. Why did I? Stop yourself and say, no,
Mm-hmm.
this is a learning experience. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from whatever it was that just happened. You start, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, oh, my forehead's too big. I got like this Cro-Mag forehead here and these weird eyebrows and, you know, maybe a, snaggletooth or hair lip or something like that. Instead of thinking, oh, this is terrible and everybody hates it and I'm ugly and gross, then instead you say to yourself the exact opposite. I am enough exactly as I am. I am beautiful in the way that I was made, and the world needs me. And that's why I'm still here. So I like to do that a lot for myself, my kids, like everybody knows me, hears me say these things all the time. When you catch
Yeah.
yourself thinking something negative and you're being that observer, then stop yourself and replace it with the exact opposite,
Yeah.
positive, and you will be amazed at how that can change your day. Yeah, I did this myself for years, like trying to be something I wasn't. And I would wake up in the morning and expletive deleted out of my mouth. Urgh, urgh, I got to do this and I got to put up with this person and the day's going to suck. And you know what? Every time I did that, guess what? Inevitably, somebody pissed me off and I was like halfway wanting to like
Yeah.
stabby with people. I'm like, wow. And when I started practicing that and observing, okay, what's the first thing you wake up and think in the morning? If you think the day is going to suck, then it's going to suck because you're setting
Mm-hmm.
the tone. You're already setting that tone. Sorry, I go
Oh
on.
no, no. Yeah, that's having that perfect mindset in the morning is it really does. When you just decide that you're going to have a good day, regardless, you're going to have a good day. I mean, I've been when I was in the Marine Corps, we had a lot of hard days where we would, we'd go on humps. We'd go hump 30 miles with, and you'd have, 40, 50, 60 pounds on your back and you're humping for 30 miles. You think that's not a good time because you're not, and it's not a nature walk. It's not like we're, around taking pictures and having a good time. I mean,
no, this is like figure out how to freaking survive in this condition with
it's a tough day.
Yeah.
But when you wake up and you just go, you know what, this is going to be tough, but it's going to be a challenge, and I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And the thing that got me through it is, I knew this isn't what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I remember the morning I had to go do this 30-mile hike, I'm thinking, this is probably the one and only time I'm ever going to do a 30-mile hike as a Marine. This is probably it.
Yeah.
And when I remember as we're stepping off and we're on this, we'd been building up for it. We'd been doing like the week before we'd done 25 miles. And the week before that we did 20. So we'd been building up to do this 30-mile thing. So we've been hiking a lot, like every week, every Friday for several weeks. And here we are. Here's the big one is we're stepping off. I'm just thinking, I'm just going to enjoy this thing. And it was supposed to be the longest hump. It was supposed to be the most difficult one. And it was actually the most enjoyable one because I finally just let go of feeling miserable and just thought, I'm going to enjoy this. This is probably going to be it. This is the last one I'm ever going to really do. And it really was. It turned out, because I only did 4 years. And I got out, shortly after that. And man, I was like, this is the longest, this is probably the most physically difficult thing I've ever done in my life. And I never felt tired. I was sure, physically you're sore, but not really all that. I mean, I actually felt really good. When I was done, I wasn't exhausted like I had been weeks before. I was like, oh, I can't believe this. I felt great. I was like, I could keep going. And it was just from that mental change, just saying, I'm just going to enjoy this. This is probably the last one I ever have to do. And I just enjoyed myself. And, and being able to carry that into everything and anything that you do when you're in a difficult situation, if you just say, you know what, this is probably the only time I've ever going to experience this. These circumstances, I'm never going to be in this circumstance again. If nothing else, I'm going to have a great story. So I'm going to pay attention to all the crazy. Hey, how more ridiculously stupid can this get? I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to write this stuff down because nobody's going to believe how, ridiculous this boss of mine is, or my coworkers are idiots. And this whole situation is falling apart.
Right?
Yeah. And instead of getting upset about it, you go, hey, I'm going to lean into this and learn and just observe. And when you do that, like you're saying, you become an observer of your own life. When you do that with everything else, man, life just has a way of just becoming enjoyable, even when it's horrible. As we say in the Marine Corps, embrace the suck. It's gonna suck. It's just life just sucks sometimes. Everything's gonna be perfect, and you can either make yourself miserable because it's not perfect, or you can just go, hey, I can enjoy this for what it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then let's see. So we've got the mental, your mind, getting your mind right, being positive. As I've said, I made a video last week where I said, thinking positive does not necessarily mean that you think everything's going to work out perfectly. Everything's going to be just the way you want it to be. It's never going to work out that way. But being positive means really what it comes down to is that that the situation may not improve, but when it's all said and done, that you're still going to be okay, that you can deal with whatever happens, that you can handle whatever the outcome is, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. You're going to be okay through it.
Most definitely. And I'm like crazy living proof of the truth of that, because I come from a strange background that's like Lifetime made for TV movie material.
Oh, yeah.
oh my God, there's all like kidnapping and
Oh,
not me, but in my family
okay.
history, like there's all kinds of crazy stuff. And I was
Yeah.
raised by a single mom who had mental handicaps. She had some intellectual disabilities and things like that. She didn't know how to read or
Oh,
really write
wow.
or do math. Like by the time I was in third grade, like people were telling me that I was smarter than her, and I didn't really understand that because I was a kid raised in Section 8 housing under the welfare system, and like had all the stack of cards,
You had
stacked up.
all the victim boxes. You could check them all off. Right.
I ranked 10 or 8 out of 10 on the adverse childhood events scale or something like all this stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, well, yeah, PTSD and anxiety and all those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I've learned is have a positive mindset. And through all the things that my mother went through, and for as intellectually deficient as she was, she always had a positive mindset. She always says, well, tomorrow's going to be another day. Well, you got to love your neighbor as yourself. Don't trust people that steal. Like these little like
Yeah.
basic things. And she always kept this really positive attitude. And during our most difficult times when like there wasn't enough money to pay the electric bill, or we were like the refrigerator was empty, someone came and left some money to pay the bill or dropped us off a bag of groceries. And my entire life there's always been exactly what I've needed at the exact
Hmm.
time that I've needed it. And the times when I started getting greedy and started getting all uppity in my mindset about, well, I'm somebody special.
I deserve more.
Exactly.
Don't you know who I am?
Boom. I got smashed down.
Yeah.
Some wacko stuff happened that would never happen to anybody, just totally would come along and ruin anything. When I leaned into the going into the positive and working on changing my mindset, doing the opposite of the negative, and having a deep sense of gratitude, that's when the magic really started happening.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you met this person that you didn't expect to meet, and they know this person, and they can help you with this whatever thing it is. And oh, you learned this new thing today, and you can help other people. It's just like the whole idea of like the positivity manifesting type stuff sounds like a bunch of hogwash if you listen to a bunch of just, I don't know what to call them. I'll just say outlier folks that just have a certain type of way about them. Some of them just, I don't think fully actually understand what they're saying.
Yeah, I think that the whole concept has really been lost because they try to turn it into some magic trick.
Yeah, and a lot of
And
it's like a sales and marketing type thing. And I'm just like, if you got something good, the marketing does itself. You don't have to try to convince people by using like all this strong language and your Facebook advertisements and
it's
all
ultra
that.
mega super the best
I
ever.
will give you the exact steps that will fundamentally blow your mind. No, stop it. Like they need to stop it with all that. They really
It's crazy. Crazy. It's like, watch my video and you'll learn all the secrets. And you watch the video and you're like, I didn't learn anything. I just heard you talk about the secrets for 10 minutes and you didn't mention a single one of them.
And I saw your skin about it and I was like, thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I get so annoyed by so many things on the internet. That's the other thing I enjoy doing is just making fun of stupid trends. And not everybody gets it, but that makes it even funnier for me. So
I think there's a little bit of I don't know what to call it, secret joy at like I get this joke and you don't.
yeah,
I love moments like that where I watch something with my husband and I start laughing like 30 seconds before he even like gets like I arrive at the conclusion of the joke and I'm like,
yeah,
oh my God, that's hilarious.
yeah.
And he's like, why are you laughing? And I'm like, 2, 1, And then he starts laughing.
And then he gets it. Yeah.
So, okay. So we talked about the mindset thing, and then we talked about the movement, with the laughing and stuff. And this being outside, because being outside, you're, especially if the breeze is blowing like it is here in East Tennessee right now, everything's moving and you're moving kind of, but it is important to get physical activity.
Yes. And you don't need to become a power lifter. You don't need to go run ultra marathons.
Yeah.
Just
don't need to do that.
You know what? Just dance. I spent, this was funny. When I was in high school, a junior in high school, I weighed 260 pounds. And the end of my junior year. And I wanted to lose some weight. And I tried to lose weight before and it just had not been very successful with it. So then I just decided, okay, here's what we're going to do. I stopped eating a lot of bread. I started focusing on basically proteins and fruits and vegetables. Stopped drinking soda pop. And then the other thing I would do is I didn't really have running shoes or anything. So what I decided is that every day for 1 hour, I would put on music and I would just kind of do calisthenics or exercise, but I would just move for an hour. Just jazzercise, what, just move for an hour. That's it. I just put on music. I would do push-ups and sit-ups and I would jumping jacks and I would try to do dancing. I would put on Michael Jackson videos and try to copy the moves, I would, but for 1 hour every day that was it. I would just move. And I ended up going from 260 pounds down to 180 over that summer. So my senior year of high school, I lost all that weight.
That's amazing.
It was fun. And mostly it was just moving, just goofing off. And then I ended up, this is another ridiculous thing about me. When I went to college on a debate scholarship of all things. And
I'll bet you did.
Yeah. And it was funny because I also was a manager for the football team. So like I would like videotape the practices and because I love football and I wasn't physically strong. I just wasn't a college level football player by any means. I mean, I was barely a high school level player, but I just loved the game. And so I became the manager. And so I became friends with the guys on the team. And one of them was a roommate of mine, and he was taking a dance class. And I'm like, why are you taking a dance class? And he says, because I'm the only guy in there. And I'm like, I get it. Right.
Great idea, huh?
And so the class was I didn't have a class during that time period. And I was like, I could add that on pretty easy. It's the middle of the day. So I went and joined this same class. And we did two classes. I did two classes. And at the end of the second class, the teacher came up and offered me a full ride dance scholarship. That's mostly amazing. Because, well, she says, in her words, you move really well for a big guy. Plus you're strong enough that you could pick the girls up. So that they could there were certain things that they could do, if they could get picked up, for things. And so that really was my job was to dance with beautiful women and lift them up.
That's amazing.
And it was fun.
Even at that young age, you recognized stuff that you needed to do to be yourself.
Yeah, and it was really going. Well, it was funny that it was a football player that got me to go do it, right? And when we got there, the first thing is, oh, hey, look at all these young ladies. All right,
of course, who wouldn't?
But once I started dancing, I was like, this is really fun. I enjoy this, and I was like, I didn't know if I was any good at it. I didn't care. I didn't care if I was good at it. I was just doing it because I was having fun, and I did everything. I did ballet. I did modern dance, all kinds of stuff. And And then when I went later, when I got older and went back to college to finish my degree, I took another dance class. And it was funny because the instructor, this is a big university. The instructor of that class was a girl I went to high school with.
Huh.
That
So we
was
come
funny.
full circle.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Isn't
'Cause,
that awesome how the universe works?
yeah, and it was just really fun because I was this older dude in this dance class, and they're all like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm going, "Man, I'm just having fun. That's what I'm doing." So, but yeah, find like I said, you don't need to go do join strongman competitions or be in the NBA. Just go find something and just get physical. Just get out there and move. And it doesn't, like I said, dance. Go take a dance class. Go one of those Fred Astaire dance things, and or get a group. My one of my favorite things is when you see those granny groups that do dancing. They are so funny and just so fun. They're
They're
so much fun to
precious.
watch. Yeah,
You could feel the joy coming off of them when you watch them do what they're doing.
yeah,
They're like focused, but they're enjoying it and they're having fun.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You mentioned something just a minute ago, which ties us into the meals thing with my philosophy. You mentioned that you had quit eating like a lot of the simple carbohydrates and like you cut out the sodas and
Yeah,
things
soda
like
pop was my biggest. I love soda pop. Like just absolutely love it. It's one of my passions, if you will.
wow,
And to just stop
that's deep.
drinking it was yeah, it was I don't know. I've just always
Got
enjoyed
that
just
hook it up in you.
the
Like,
yeah, the fizz and just like yeah, so what's your favorite drink? I love all of them. I love all of them. But anyway, but I knew just that pure sugar just going straight into you was just not a good thing. So I stopped. Like I just basically cut sugar, and this was so when people say, "Oh, this whole low carb diet is a new fad," no, we've known this for a long time.
well, oh, and so like it's so important to pay attention to what we're putting in the mouth hole.
Yes, yes.
Um, that it goes for everything. Um,
Hmm.
and there are
Garbage in, garbage out.
exactly your inputs or your outputs are only going to be as good as your inputs. So if you're putting trash in, then you're gonna get trash out, as you just said. But here's the thing: like, there's a lot of folks out there, and this is really irritating me that doctors are getting on this bandwagon with this. Well, I'm all about the keto. It's going to solve everything. Or I'm about the carnivore, or you can only do the Mediterranean, or the low
Yeah.
carb, high fat, or, any number of these things. There are certain diets that are definitely necessary for people that have very specific conditions. For
Yep.
example, if you have a kidney disease and, like kidney, deterioration, there's some things that you definitely have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
That's not for the general population. With nutrition, the analogy that I like to use a lot with people is that we are not really any different from the rest of the animal kingdom. And we have lots of different species of animals in the animal kingdom. And so, like, let's say we have a whale that lives in the ocean. What do they eat? They eat krill and like some shrimps and maybe a few fishes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then we have like a hummingbird, right? And the hummingbird drinks nectar from flowers and maybe eats a little bug here and there, and then they do all their stuff. And then you've got, the chipmunks and squirrels that eat the acorns, and you have birds that eat seeds and worms that eat bacteria and dirt and poop and all that stuff, right? So they're all different. We're all different too. If I took a whale and I was like, "Hey, whale, here's a bucket of KFC chicken and a side of beef brisket from the local barbecue shop," and I threw that to the whale and the whale ate it. Could it eat it? Yeah. Is it going to help the whale? No. It's probably going to make them very sick. If I took the hummingbird and I stuck a pile of peanuts in front of them or cashews or something and said, "Here, hummingbird, that's your food," they would probably die. So we're not all the same in terms of what our dietary requirements are, but that's where it comes into us being mindful about what we're putting in and then how we feel afterward. And we have a problem in that we're so here, particularly here in the US, to a certain extent, I think in some westernized nations as well, we're so used to, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I don't like it, let me call the doctor, let me get this pill or this whatever thing, so I don't get uncomfortable. We don't have a mindset toward figuring out, well, what is it about what I'm putting in that might be making me feel bad. And just like with the food stuff, the symptoms that people have when they have health issues are many and diverse. And so, there'll be like this doctor research article that says, okay, if you have this, you are definitely going to feel this and this and this and this. You know what? We actually really can't say that. And COVID, unfortunately, has demonstrated that the range of symptoms that people experience when they're ill is just across the board.
Oh, absolutely.
But we have to be detectives about what we're putting in our body. And so, if you eat something and then like you just randomly start having, sneezing fits or your belly's upset, well, consider what it was. And maybe that's a thing your body doesn't like.
Mm-hmm.
But the eating thing, we know we shouldn't eat a whole bunch of processed foods. We should eat whole foods as much as possible. We should, reduce the simple carbohydrate, intake. We shouldn't be drinking, the big gulp of the Cokes every day.
Yeah.
Not a good thing. But the nutrition part actually goes a little deeper. And it also goes into what we're listening to and what we're watching.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're paying attention to a lot of negativity, either from family, friends, the news media and stuff on social media, and it's negative, that it's a form of feeding us. And then there comes in that, really tri-directional relationship of, I listen to something negative. It's giving me negative thoughts. It's making me feel bad. I don't like to feel bad. It makes me uncomfortable. So therefore, I get an impulse to correct that. What's the easiest way to correct that? Comfort food. Ooh, what's going to give me a jolt? There's a box of Oreos in the cabinet. Okay, I eat the box of Oreos. And then 20 minutes later, oh my God, I'm tired. I need a nap. I know I should, go take a walk around the block, but I'm just too tired. And so I'm going to go just plop on my couch. And then I'm going to put on Netflix again and watch another crime documentary talking all about how our significant other is like going to try to like murder us in our sleep, or our children are going to go crazy, or, we're going to turn up with some malignancy. And the cycle repeats itself over and over and over and over. And then, as a friend of mine, a very good friend who I've known for a very long time, says, the wheel is turning, but the hamster's dead.
Mm-hmm. Very, very true. That is part of why I intentionally do not do a lot. I don't do dirty material. Or I try to be, my goal is to be positive, and I want to make videos that you feel good about sharing with anyone. So you're comfortable with, hey, because there's times I've had people send me videos that they thought were funny, but were just not something I myself would ever share with anyone or watch myself. But I watched it because they shared it with me. It was like, really? You know what I mean? They thought it was funny, and but anyway, but I want to be part of putting positive things out into the world.
Yes.
And because of that, we are bombarded so much with just so much negativity and nastiness that yeah, and people will say, oh, you're being a prude, and it's like, no, I'm being selective.
I
i'm
have been
i'm
accused of being a prude since I was a teenager. The girls that I ran with were like, "Ah, you're a prude.
you're
What's
such a
wrong with you?" And
prude.
I'm like, "I'm not a hussy.
Yeah,
I
I'm not.
don't care about
Yeah,
that.
I'm
What do
not
you
going to
think
surround
you're
myself. I'm not going to bring this stuff into my life.
doing?"
I don't want it. I don't. It's not. I don't want to normalize that kind of stuff in my life.
Exactly. I
And
agree.
so well, it's always been funny to me because other comedians are like, how can you go up on stage and not use any foul language at all? And I'm going, well, because it's not part of my vernacular. I just don't use those words. It's just not part of who I am. I'm not. I mean, I don't. uh, I do get angry sometimes, and I'll use an expletive, but it's not part of my everyday verbiage. I mean, I just don't do it because to me those words are negative. Those are, they have negative connotations. They have there's
Yes.
anger. There's meaning behind it that I don't want to express. I don't want that kind of energy in my life. I don't want to put that
Yeah.
energy out there. I don't want that energy around me, and so I don't do it. And people don't seem to understand that your language, what you're putting out and what you're saying out into the world, hangs around. It becomes part of everything, and it comes back to you. You hear that. Your subconscious hears you saying those things, and your subconscious goes, oh, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what's important. And
You mentioned connotation, right? Well,
uh-huh.
what's connotation? It is positive, negative, or neutral. The same as the particles that make up an atom. You got electrons, you got protons, you got neutrons. Like it's all that. Like some things are just like just the facts, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
This occurred on this stuff. But then you have positive and negative connotations, and I'm right there with you. Like I don't like stuff that carries a negative connotation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we could do a whole nother
Yeah.
discussion
Well,
on.
see, I've been advised by people that tell me that I should do dirtier material, that I
Oh
should
no.
do, and I'm like, I don't think you understand me at all. I don't think you're,
Mm-mm.
you know, it's really funny because they're like, well, so and so's doing these kind of jokes, and he's doing this kind of stuff, and he's got millions of followers. That's fine. I don't care. I don't need millions of people who are following me because I'm doing that. You can go get that. That guy's already doing it. Why don't you go listen to him? I don't need to do it. He's not doing what I'm doing. So I'm just going to do what I do. So yeah, I may not be as big, be as successful, but at least I
But
feel good about.
that's not why you do what you do.
No,
You do
no,
what
I
you
don't.
do because it's a calling for you. It's what you feel like you're led to do.
Yes, yes. It feels like that more all the time,
Amen.
And look, I'm not getting anywhere near rich off any of this. So, but you know what? Paying the bills and I'm happy, and I couldn't ask for anything more. And
Pay
that's
my
the other
bill,
thing
pay
is
my
just
light bill, and buy my gas, and we're good. You know,
yeah,
super
I'm
simple.
good. I mean that's the other thing is when you're always wanting to be really super rich and you want all of this stuff. It's that desire, it's that wanting that leads to your unhappiness.
Yeah.
But if you're just grateful for what you have, as you were said earlier, it just seems like whatever we needed was there. We didn't have an abundance of everything, but what we needed was there when we needed it. Like my childhood, we had a lot of ups and downs as a family, but we were always fed. I never went without food. We always had a roof over our house, over our, even when they would burn down, we still had a place to go. I mean, we just, life wasn't perfect, but what we needed, that we really needed, we had, and just learn to be grateful for it. And I think of just, you could continue that throughout your life if you just realize that, hey, if you got your basic needs, that's better than
I got a
90% of
great
the entire
story.
world.
I got a great story about that's direct evidence of this. So, um, um, I have a few different siblings, and I have a brother who is a lovely
Oh,
person.
uh-huh.
Is a bit of an oddball, and he says, "Always be of good moral character." And so, I always try to be of good moral character and just help people out whenever I can. And so I was living next door to this lady, and she was taking care of her mother, and she says, "Oh, well, I'm going to need your help taking care of my mom. Can you help me?" I said, "Sure." And she says, "What do I pay you?" I said, "Don't pay me anything. I don't care about that. I just I like the lady, and I like you and everything, and I want to come help take care of you." And then about a week into it, um, one of my kids needed a tooth pulled because like the tooth had just been eaten through. Don't know why.
Oh, yeah.
Nonetheless, needed the tooth pulled. Took the kid to the dentist, and they're like, "It's going to be $500 to have this tooth removed." And I was like, "I
Wow.
don't have any money." And later that day, I went to go do something for the lady. I think it was like picking up laundry, and the daughter had left a card on the table, and I opened the card, and it was a check for $500.
Oh, wow.
And that's one of many, many, many such experiences. So,
It really when you just really sit back and just think about your life and think about all those moments where just what you needed was right there when you
yeah,
needed it. It really it's just it's amazing. I mean, you can't sit back but think there had to be something divine intervening in all of this. Something is
sure
going on.
did.
I may not fully understand who or what it is, but something's happening. And
Yeah.
it's just life is just fun. It's just when you
It
just
really
really sit
is.
back and just go, "This is pretty cool. I'm gonna enjoy myself,
Yeah.
even when it sucks. I'm still having a good time."
If you woke up with all your mental faculties and your vision and your hearing and you could speak and you could wiggle and move, then you're doing better than well over 6,000 people did this morning.
Yes, yes. Well, I've had a lot of people reach out to me and share their stories with me, and I had one recently that uh, a young man who was homeless was actually um, well, let's just say he was doing unsavory things just to get money, just to survive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he contacted me saying that basically he was at his last leg. He's trying to stay positive, but he just he's homeless. He's happened to basically whore himself out, and um, just this is the lowest point in his life. And he's like, he goes, I don't know why I should go on. He says, I
Mm.
don't see any of this ever getting any better. And yeah, I told him, I said, well, do you have a place to sleep tonight? And he goes, oh yeah, I got this one place. And I said, well, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
He says, yeah. And I said, well, do you have food? And he goes, yeah, I eat most days. I was, oh, that's cool. How you pulling that off? And he says, well, just
Check.
little. He does certain things for money from time to time. People give him, he gets people will just give him money sometimes. And I said, okay, so you're not starving to death at any point. All right. Said, no, no, no. I said, okay. So that's a good thing, right? Yeah. And I said, just focus on what you do have. I said, and just say out loud that you're grateful that you have these things. And so he would do that, and he goes, and I go, do you feel better? And he goes, yeah. And I said, now it didn't change anything, did it? I mean, nothing's different. I mean, you have the same stuff that you had before. Your situation hasn't changed at all, right? And I said, but you feel better, right? He's, yeah, I do. Okay, now you're more relaxed, you're more comfortable. You realize that you're not in a desperate situation, and now you'll find that you're just going to be able to find better situations to get yourself into,
Yeah.
because now you're relaxed. You're not in survival mode. You don't have to be stuck in survival mode. And so, over a period of time, now uh, he's gotten himself into a relationship with a very good person, and moved in with them, and they were taking good care of him. And he got a job. There was a place that he was going and getting food. They found him getting food out of their dumpster, and
Oh wow.
they said, hey, instead of getting food out of the dumpster, why don't you just come in and we'll give you a meal. And so every day he would go there and he would eat. And then eventually they were like, well, look, we need someone to work. You want a job? So he got a job. And so in the course of just a couple weeks or so, he went from being wanting to kill himself to now he's in a great relationship. He has a place to live and he has a job. And he said for the first time in a long time, his life is good and he's happy. And a lot of it was just coming and just making that mindset change and getting out of that funk of wanting to kill himself and
Yeah.
getting away from that. And all of a sudden, everything just starts to open up. And like I said, it's not a magic trick. It's just what happens when you just start looking at things positively and being positive and welcoming good things into your life. Good things will come.
Yes. Most definitely. Pretty much every time. I mean, sometimes, stuff doesn't work out, but for the most part, it really does. And you got to think about, well, the stuff that didn't work out, perhaps there's a reason that it didn't work out. And that reason was actually for your personal benefit, to protect you from something much, much worse. And I've adopted that mindset, like, when I'm in the car driving. I had a car accident on November 25th of 2020, and not really exactly sure how I survived it. Broke my foot in 4 places and had a concussion and all this stuff.
Oh,
and
dear.
It was crazy. And now when I am driving and like I see, like, traffic, I said, well, you know what? It's a good thing that I'm just stuck over here in this traffic, because something happened ahead. And had I been more impatient and more harried in leaving, I could have actually been whatever it was up ahead. And so let me not be frustrated when I get stuck in traffic or something. Anyways, mindset is everything. Movement's important, meals are important, but really mindset is everything at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I always enjoy the negative ones who are like I said before, they always say, being positive isn't going to change anything. No, you're just, I like the ones that try to say caustic positivity. You heard of that?
Both of those statements carry negative connotations, do they not? I mean, being positive changes nothing. That is a negative statement in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm psycho. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
But I don't know. It's sort of just this weird kind of, I don't know, kind of, they think that they're being really smart by being negative, and by being skeptical. And I think good skepticism is important. You should be skeptical about a lot of things in your life.
Well, I think there's a big difference between skepticism and condescending snarkiness. I don't know.
Yeah. Like we got a guy. There's somebody. Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Stuart. Okay, so we've got a guy in the. We get people in the comment section. I'm going to share this with you.
Oh,
he wants attention. Let's give him attention. Love how no one knows what these two are about. 2 hippies talking doo-doo.
Well, hey, you know what grows things in the garden? A pile of doo-doo.
Yep, absolutely. That is one of the most odd and life changing experiences I had in my life was I went to Thailand when I was in the Marine Corps, and we went on these military exercises, right? But we stayed on this base, and they had plumbing. They had indoor plumbing, but we were not allowed to use the toilets in the building because
Okay.
our American poop was too big for their system. We kept plugging it up. So they built these outhouses in the back that we had to go, these little, and they were comfortable enough for what they were. It was this platform, and you go and you would sit down, you would poop into a big plastic bag, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the week, they would take these bags, and the local farmers would all come in and they would bid on them, and they would buy the American poop, and they would go and use it as fertilizer out in their fields, because American poop was some of the best, richest poop that you could get.
Ah.
And it just kind of blew my mind, because I was just like, holy cow. How can you not feel good about yourself when even your poop is worth something to the rest of the world? This is crazy.
It's gold, baby.
But anyway, well,
For people that are like subsistence farmers that just like they be saving their poop all the time to put it in their garden and all. I mean, we've subcontracted that out to the horses and these days now.
yeah, yeah. But no, that's the whole cycle. Well, one of my favorite things, I don't know if you've seen this meme that goes around every once in a while, is that bees don't have to explain to flies why honey is better than poop.
I had
And
not seen that one. No.
well, and a lot of these pseudo life coaches are like, oh yeah, honey's better. You don't have to explain yourself to anyone. Blah blah blah. That's what they're using it as. But I always thought it was kind of a silly thing, because I'm like, flies know exactly how good honey is. You ever put honey out? You know who comes to
That's
it?
why they land on it.
Flies. Flies love honey. What are you talking about? Bees don't need to explain anything to flies. They love honey. But at the
Yeah.
same time, they also know the value of poop, because there's nutrients in there too. And maybe a fly needs to explain to you how nutrient rich and important poop is.
Exactamundo.
Uh,
Yes.
I don't know. The world is funny.
It's a strange place, no doubt. So we just try to make it as best as we can, and got to focus on those three areas of health, those three M's: mindset, movement, and
Yes,
skills.
mindset, movement, and meals.
If you
Eat well. Eat good food, and you don't need to. Like I said, you don't need to completely. You can still enjoy an Oreo cookie. You can still enjoy cake. It's just it doesn't need to become every meal. That's
Yeah.
my biggest problem with Oreo cookies, is that I eat them by the dozen, which is horrible. But when you stop and go, you know what, I'm gonna have two Oreo cookies, and then you just slowly enjoy them, and then when you're done with eating the two cookies, you go, that was delightful, and then you can move on. It's like your emotions.
Yes.
It's like if you do it in space. It's like, I feel bad. I'm going to feel bad for a moment. I don't have to eat the entire box of disappointment. I can just nibble on it, experience it, and say, okay, now I'm going to have an avocado and go for a walk. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. Like I try to tell this to the clients that I work with, and the ones that listen to me do well, and the ones that don't listen keep coming back to the same thing. And it's like, let's have some mindfulness. Let's think about, well, what is it really that's going on under the surface? Okay, well, I'm hungry. Well, why are you hungry? Well, because I hadn't eaten all day. Well, why? Because I didn't get a break at work, and I came home and my house was a mess, and my spouse was irritating, and I was starving to death, and I just needed something. And so, like, every time we indulge that, like, we wire that behavior to that feeling and that impulse. So it makes it difficult. But if we could say, you know what, I'm actually not really hungry. I'm actually mad because the house is a mess. When we become that observer that we talked about earlier, and we can start seeing that, then we can say, okay, you know what? Instead of eating that box of Oreos, I'm going to go take a walk. And maybe that physical exercise will help me be less angry because I'll get out the steam, push through some of the endorphins through my body, get rid of some of the toxins. Maybe I'll think differently, when I come back. And there's like almost an infinite amount of situations that you can apply that thinking to. Like, it's pretty universal. And I don't like to say that a whole lot of things are universal, especially when it comes to healthcare and medicine, things like that. But in this case, those three pillars are critical.
They are. They're
happiness and health. And even if you're like sick, like let's say you have cancer, or you have some kind of terminal condition, if you still do some due diligence to pay attention to those three areas, you're going to have a better time as you go through the transition. That's my
man. That's right. As Socrates used to say, the unexamined life is not worth living.
Amen.
And when you examine your life, you'll find yourself doing better things and living a better life, a more comfortable life, an enjoyable life, and you'll laugh more.
And you'll be able to love others better because you learn to love yourself.
Yes. Now, also alluded that there would be puppets today.
Oh my God, puppets! I was wondering where there's.
I'm working on. I gotta work these in sometime. I found these at Walmart. Aren't those? So this is going to represent negative thoughts.
There's that lizard brain.
Here it is. Being positive won't change anything. Blah, I'm so smarter than you. It's not that easy. It's easier said than done. Blah 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 blah. It is what it is. It is what it is. I hate that one when people say it is what it is. You hear people say that?
I hear people say that a lot, and I can't disagree. Yeah, it is what it is. But you have the power to make the is different.
Yes, that is my point. Is that when you say it is what it is, okay, it might be a circumstance that's difficult, but you can change it. If you're involved, you can change the situation. You can be positive and find a way to make it a different situation. You can change everything. You really can't. But if you decide no, you can't, well then okay, you can't. You're a loser, and you go off in your little cocoon of negativity and leave me alone.
And I remember some person in the past said something to the effect of, tell me what the definition of is.
Oh yes, we had a big thing about is. What is?
It's the right
is
now.
Is it as is now is, or was as it was when it was being an is at the time that it was. But a was is not an is. An is a present, but it is not a present currently, and it was only a momentary is, so therefore it's not an ongoing is. And if it's not an ongoing is, it never was an is.
Exactly. I love that.
Philosophy. I actually, when there's this concept of what is and what ought. Have you ever heard of this?
Yes.
What an is and what an ought. So we have what is, and then we have what ought to be.
Yep.
And how do you take what is and turn it into what ought to be? And it is this little thing, this little concept of what, because there's is that is unchangeable, but the things that are changeable can always be turned into an ought. But it's being able to identify what is always is, versus what can be turned into an ought,
Well,
what it
that
ought to be.
that would be my question. Who is it exactly that determines what ought? How do you know that what is isn't what it already ought to be in the first place?
Yes, because we don't always fully understand or comprehend everything that's going on around us.
We sure don't. And I'll tell you what, this whole issue with the pandemic has proven that with unquestionableness. A lot of things that we thought was ain't, and a lot of things that we think should be aren't, and a lot of things that we say ought, the is way different. Uh, that's just to put it.
That's where I think just learning to accept the way things are as because that's the way it should be, even though we not may not necessarily like it or agree with it. Um, it is the best. May not be our how we see it, but that's part of the wisdom of Buddhism and the Tao is just seeing the world for what it is, and instead of trying to break yourself against it, learn to adapt to what it is and adjust and accept. And if you can change, do change. But if you can't change it, then learn what you can do and just be happy. Stop making yourself miserable trying to fix
Amen.
everything. So,
Man.
well, do you have any parting words you want to share with the world before we wrap this up?
Um, understand that you are loved. You might not feel it immediately in the moment, but you're loved. There are people out there that care about you. Somewhere, in some place, on some timeline in this dimension or whatever, people love you and they care about you. And so you probably love people and care about people too. And therefore, it's your duty to try to take care of yourself as best as you can. So keep those 3 pillars of health in mind: mindset, movement, and meals. And just try to be a good person wherever you go and help people as best as you can. That's pretty much
Perfect.
it.
Well, beautiful. Well, thank you. And how could people find you? Because you are a therapist. Is that,
I'm a
what's
I'm a board certified health and wellness coach. And there's a little bit of therapy-ish stuff that like I don't practice as a
you don't do
psychotherapist.
that? Okay, okay.
There's talk therapy, just like you can have any kind of therapy. So we talk about things. So I specialize in working with diabetes patients and folks with autoimmune disorders, and just do one-to-one coaching. I do group coaching, community education. You can find me on Facebook. I'm on there as Joanne Voorhees Collins. You can find me on YouTube at Joe Voorhees Collins. And I have a website that I just got started specifically for diabetes people, but we're probably going to expand it in the future. And it is called diahub.org. And I basically write articles just about every other day, all about diabetes, health, and wellness. But I'm available to talk to anybody anytime. Like I said, find me on Facebook, and I can, we can, I guess, put links in the show notes after the fact of how to get in touch with me via email and all that good stuff. And my goal is to help at least 1 million people improve their health and wellness in
that's a wonderful
one
goal.
of those 3 domains. So,
well, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for making yourself available.
well, thank you for having me and for listening to me rant. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
you were delightful. Thank you for being here.
Well, I hope that our listeners enjoyed too, and maybe learned a little something, or maybe pick their brain just a little bit and get them thinking about something in a way they hadn't thought about it before.
I hope so. That's my goal. Just give people a chance to just kind of chill out and relax and hear some good conversation. maybe change their life. You
And when
know.
the world tells you you have to be this way, and the other side says you can't do this.
Oh, here we go.
Just chill out and listen to Mr. Rodney Norman here. Or send me a message and let's talk. Yeah.
There you go.
Don't worry, don't pay attention to this. Not so much. Yeah.
You don't deserve to be happy. Rah, rah, rah. There are people suffering in the world. You do not deserve to be happy and successful. Blah 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 blah. You must be miserable because you're smart. If you're smart,
It's
then you're
lizard people.
miserable. You deserve to be happy. I don't have a happy. They're all. I gotta find happier puppets. That's what I need to do. Anyway, thank you again, everybody, for joining us. This is again. If you wanna join me one of these days, be one of my lives. We'll talk about you. We'll talk about your life. We'll talk about your philosophy of the world. We'll share it with the world. So please join me again next time, and we'll see you. We'll have a super freaking awesome day. Okay, bye.